The difference between winning and losing can be marginal, and the world's top teams are always looking for innovative ways to gain that extra edge. Ahead of the Tour de France, BMC Racing Team have been testing their latest cycling equipment at the University of Eindhoven's wind tunnel, researching and analysing new ways to be the best.
Yeah, wind tunnel testing, it's a big advantage. You can dial in a lot of position. You can find you know, what material works for you. Sometimes what's fast on someone might not be fast on yourself. So it's always good to test different things. And you know, I've learned a lot, gained a lot, and yeah, I think right now it's all minor details, but it's certainly worthwhile.
Our sports, you know, it's always little gains to be made, and I think, you know, skin suits are such a big part of it now. Time trials are crucial for GC overall, so any little savings you can make due to being more aerodynamic are you know, huge in races.
Of course, many cyclists use wind tunnels, use computer simulations, but often results are very dependent on the cyclist, him or herself, and on the material, the equipment. And aerodynamics is also a field of research that actually is sometimes counterintuitive, because we all have some idea what aerodynamics means, but usually we don't see it. It's all around us, but nevertheless, almost in every project that we do, we find things that surprise us. A wind tunnel is a controlled environment, and the reality is more uncontrollable than the wind tunnel environment. Wind tunnels often test ideal situations, low turbulence flow, often not taking into account a lot of crosswind. And yeah, wind tunnels do have walls and a ceiling. And even when you keep your blockage ratios very low, still you will have those effects. Every wind tunnel is also different. Every wind tunnel has different approach flow turbulence intensity that has an effect, for example, on how suits will perform in the wind tunnel. So it's not surprising that when you go from one wind tunnel to another, that you will get different results for the same rider in the same position with, for example, the same suit. What is important, I think, is that every wind tunnel should be aware of the limitations and the specifications. And I think that's the start of the story, but in the end, it's in real life that it matters. There's so many aspects, and it's such an interaction of material, of position on the bike, of the helmet, the position of the head, the position of the hands, the arms. There's so many variations that you can come up with. And this also makes it very difficult to come to very clear conclusions. And it makes it also very important to register very clearly for every athlete what the specific position is of all the body parts to get a certain advantage.
If we find out that we're already on the fastest thing, then you know that's a good mental boost to know that we're, you know, as good as we can be. And if we can actually find a gain, then it's a mental boost just to know that you know, we're getting quicker.
We start from the position that actually the cyclist is most comfortable with, and that of course he or she can deliver the maximum power that is required. And then often we base it on changes that are feasible for the cyclist. We can of course squeeze a cyclist in a very aerodynamic position and gain maybe 10% or more, but the cyclist would never be able to keep that position in a race. If you would sum up the effect of and the good or bad position on the bicycle, and a less good bicycle itself, and the clothing, and the wheels and so on, so everything, the whole package, I think you're talking about large percentages, 15, 20, 25% sometimes we've seen. Of course, professional riders that already are at a rather optimal state, their percentages are lower. But even with 2%, you can make quite a change in an actual race.
It's not out of the ordinary for Grand Tours to be decided by seconds, and any seconds that you can save just from having better equipment is a pretty easy gain.